baked tofu salad or baked tofu wraps. I'm going to use extra firm. Firm would also work here. And we're going to cube this. So the first thing I want to do is cut it long ways in half so that it's in half this way. And then I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise. And I want to keep it together. So I got fairly even cubes. So now when I cut it, I'm cutting once, making all these cubes. So like this, and so on, and so forth. And extra firm holds up nicely for this recipe when you're mixing it and tossing it and putting it in your salads and that kind of thing. So we'll go ahead and put that in our bowl, like so. There we go. And this will stand up to some mixing that way. Just going to take away the cutting boards. That's not in our way. And we're going to add our seasonings. I have 3 tablespoons of Bragg's Aminos, or a healthy soy sauce substitute, and some golden seasoning and some yeast flakes. And you could just use the yeast flakes. You don't have to put the golden seasoning in, but I like it to make it more chicken-like. Now we're just going to stir this up. And you could also marinate this as well. You want to take the time. You can put it in a baggie or put a wrap over this. Stick it in the fridge for several hours. But I find it works well. I like to do things fairly quick and easy, and so I don't tend to do all those extra steps. So we've got a little cookie sheet here. We'll go ahead and put this on the cookie sheet, like this. Get that on there. Just spread it out. And of course you could see you could, double and triple this batch. But you don't want to have it sitting in your fridge too long, so don't make too much. This is good 4 or 5 portions, well, 3 to 4 portions depending on how much you want to have in your meal. So depending on how many wraps you want to do, or how many of your family is going to need a sack lunch, will determine how much of this recipe you want to do. Because you don't want it to sit in your fridge for more than 7 to 10 days. That's really pushing it. Most tofu, cooked tofu, 3 to 5 days is the safest. All right, so we go ahead and we bake this in the oven at 300 for about 20 to 35 minutes, somewhere in there. We want to have nice golden brown edges. We'll show you that when we come back. Welcome back. Well, we got our golden tofu out of the oven, and doesn't it look nice and golden brown and lots of flavor to this tofu? Really like this recipe. Now, the rest of the recipe is sort of up for grabs, and you can put whatever you like in here. That's the great thing about salads. We're going to use some spinach, and it's nice just to break the spinach up just a little bit, just the leaves, break them in half, the big ones, as we put them in. And the reason I like to do that is even if they're pre-washed, sometimes they still have some things on there you don't want in your salad. So I like to just kind of go through them as I put them in and just kind of break them in half. And the reason you break them, it just makes it easier to eat later. If you cut them, the edge gets oxidized a little easier than if you break it. Breaking seems to help it to go better. So we'll get the spinach in there. And then I have some of that spring mix again. I probably have closer to 4 cups here as opposed to the recipe calls for 3. You can add more lettuce like I'm doing to make the tofu go a little further. And then we put our golden tofu in. And you can put in whatever kind of salad fixings you want in. I got some tomatoes here. So go ahead and put the tomatoes in. So we'll just mix that up. All right, let's see, how does that look? Not too bad. All right, now we're going to add our salad dressing. So we add about a half a cup or so of salad dressing. And I'm using my Italian recipe. This has the grape juice in it, that's why it's kind of purple. So that's what that is. Let's see how that is. And of course, if you want to make it low-fat, use a low-fat Italian. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? Now that's a really nice meal, but we can also do it like a wrap. I'm going to put a little bit of filling in our tortilla to make a wrap. Now wraps are one of those tricky things, but if you put up one end first and then fold it, that's how you get your wrap. And then if you put that in a baggie, it'll hold together quite well.